Hello, my creative friend, and thank you so much for tuning into today's junk journal flip through video. This is a different sort of a video for me today because I had a different sort of a crafty week this past week. What I've done here, while kind of working on a bunch of custom orders simultaneously, is I mass made junk journals for the first time ever. So instead of just making one to sell this week in Etsy, I made 4 of them. So pat me on the back because I deserve it, because I'm not usually into the kind of formulaic crafts. But what I've done here is I've made these 4 books. They're all completely different aesthetically. Am I right? Like this one, we've got sort of a nighttime blue vibe going, which I adore. This one is actually quite masculine, so I'm going to call it a journal for him, although it could be for her too. Some of us girls also like dark colors and neutrals and things, but this one I've kept it very almost monochromatic, except for that pop of turquoise. This one, unapologetically girly, even with the Rococo painting on the cover. And then this one is just super, super fun. They've all got a little hint of Egypt in them somewhere, but none as blatantly as that tall and slim one. So anyway, these journals all have the same collection of papers on the inside, meaning they're made with the same pages and their signatures. They're not as heavily adorned as my journals usually are. I've kept them quite minimalistic, which means whoever gets them, maybe that could be you, can decide how you want to decorate them. And these are very much journals for journaling. They're not just journals for looking at. So I've tried to include lots of journal space. For example, this pad of spacey, beautiful stickers. Not only are the stickers usable, like you could use those to decorate the journal pages, but also I would make use of the back of this for writing. My beloved Kenley gave me a bunch of paint chip cards that he picked up. He is a painter, so he's always got tons of fun stuff like that. But anyway, I left some empty pockets, which means you can fill it up with your own goodies. There's this really cool receipt from 1950 from Germany. Look at the handwriting. Look at that. That's just a receipt for plumbing work that somebody had done, but it looks like it's professional calligraphy by today's handwriting standards, doesn't it? So yeah, I just found that right on into the signature. But that's how it looks if it's open fully. This page would be perfect for collaging over, or you could just write in the margins. But yeah, lots of good pages. Matte paper, great for collage backdrop. I put a page of ancient Egyptology text in each of these just for fun. This is vintage scrapbook paper that I bought at a thrift store in the mountains, and I left it attached on the bottom so you could use that as a tuck spot, or you could also take an envelope opener or just a butter knife or something, vegan butter knife as I call them, and just kind of slice that open, and then you've got double the pages, but perfect for drawing, painting. Speaking of which, page out of a book about portraits. So yeah, how have you been? How was your week? As I pass by all those blank book pages that again are perfect for collaging, old 1960s receipt paper, or sorry, ledger paper, a blank, more like 80s or 90s ledger paper, antique music paper. This one even has some little notes and pencil on the top. So yeah, if you're one of my regular viewers, you can tell that this book is what I would refer to as plain. I haven't done copious amounts of collaging and gluing and fabric additions to every page, just a little bit of adornment here and there. I tucked in a very generous sample. If you knew how little of this stuff I have, you'd know how generous it is of me to part with such a big piece. This looks amazing, torn and collaged onto pages. pretty little flower from my friend May. Speaking of May, hi May, if you're watching this, I always love you so much. And May makes the most opulent coffee dyed paper ever. So I've added that there. Some 1960s, really fun retro looking patterns for knitting and sewing in this book. And then the danglies. For each of these books, I made the dangles out of really cool beads and jewelry components that were gifted to me by the wonderful Tanya of My Jewelry Addiction. She sent me just the coolest happy mail. Anyway, from here, it's just the other sides of all of these. But see how much blank paper there is for writing. I think of all the junk journals I've made, this particular batch is the most genuinely a junk journal. It's made with book pages from antique books that otherwise would have been thrown away. Really cool old ledgers, ephemera that was never meant to be kept, old wallpaper samples, and of course some plain cards. There's a bunch of these in there. And they just make beautiful washi tape sample holders or happy mail gifts, things that are easy and cheap to send in the mail. Speaking of easy and cheap, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make a bad joke on this YouTube channel. Speaking of things to send in the mail, Rocks, if you're watching this, I finally got your prize from the prize draw sent, so I'll send you the tracking number. Anyway, this one is one of my favorites. I think they're all my favorite. But I found this really cool brooch. It's almost like a maple leaf or some kind of a flower. Looks like marcasite in the center, but I think that's just molded from the metal. Just a cheap base metal. Anyway, this was in a junk jewelry jar, and all the empty places where once rhinestones were held looked really glaringly obvious and ugly. So I took some of my favorite rough turquoise beads, and they are color enhanced, but they are still real turquoise. And I just glued one down where each of the petals should be, and I think it looks even better like this. And just masculine enough that it could be on this kind of a journal cover. But for example, if you buy this journal and you don't want the turquoise, you could always just make it like a fold and wrap ribbon closure. You don't need to use the brooch that I put with it. Anyway, I think any man who's watching my YouTube channel doesn't mind a touch of girliness in a journal, right? You're secure enough with your masculinity or your femininity. So yeah, paint samples from Kenley. They make the best little bookmarks and lots of those little pink tickets. I put a batch of those with each journal just because they're fun to collage with, and if you've got lots of them, you don't mind using them up. This really cool fiery samurai scene. It's a little gruesome, but I found it in an art history textbook. And I kind of had an idea for this journal. Oh yeah, the lining. It's got such a cool texture to it. It's like it's raised, it's sparkling, and it's beautiful. Anyway, I was thinking earth, all the dark colors, the earth energy and the turquoise, the browns, fire with the fire element there. I'm not going to explain all the pages because we did that already with the last journal, but air. And you can guess where I'm going here with this, right? See, there's a bigger chunk of that wallpaper. This was the only journal that had that. This page out of an old account, how to do accounting book is kind of cool since it says journal. It was such an old book. It was from the 1930s. One of those cool Sri Lankan train tickets. 1912 French paper. Anyway, water. That's what I was making you sit through this whole thing for, was to show that this journal has examples of earth, air, fire, and water. And then the centerpiece is this really cool ancient prehistoric art found on a cave wall. But just look at how detailed it is. The scale of the animals, the way it's depicted, the images of the people too. It's not just stick figures. Like, these are so incredibly detailed, and I find marveling at ancient art is one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, the beads, again, they're dangles from Tanya at My Jewelry Addiction, and this one is just so fun. It's like a light stone and a dark stone sandwiched together and made into a cube. So cool. Very grounding energies. This one is like it feels like a yellow aquamarine, a yellow beryl, but it could be something else. Could be a marble or somewhere on its way to agate or carnelian. And then the little dangle here is just such a happy stone, and the colors reminded me of the cave art. So this could be some kind of jasper, but just absolutely fun. And yeah, like I said, the rest is just the other sides of all those pages. But this one has my favorite treat in the back. So whoever buys this one, you're in for a very special and best for last finale to the book. This is one of my beautiful friend Kat Stone's beautiful paper doll creations, and she made this print. Makes a perfect journaling card. But yeah, she made this print of one of her dolls, and of all her dolls, this is the one that it's always going to be my favorite because it's the first one I ever saw. And I used to cut my hair in that same exact hairstyle. And when I say I cut my hair, I mean I would angle the mirrors in my bathroom and take scissors and cut my own hair into that style. And I always got lots of compliments when I did. But I love it long now. But anyway, the fire to start the journal, and it looks like a destructive fire. But then when you make it through the pages of the journal, connecting with all those earth elements, you become fire in a creative capacity. So yeah, her dress is like phoenix feathers fire. I just adore it. So yeah, and something about the color scheme, even though it's floral, it does have a masculine vibe to it. And she's just such a strong divine feminine form. Anyway, I didn't put one of her prints in each of the journals this time because I don't want to use them all up too quickly. But this one, something about the fire, the earth, air, fire, and water, it made me really want to include the most fiery Kat Stone print. And yeah. Don't you love it when things work easily when we're on camera? It doesn't always go that way, but I love it when it does. So yeah, this one, I really love. This was my last piece. After this, it's gone. My favorite, it looks like a third eye chakra, the Agnya chakra, but in shades of pink and red. And so I layered that just over. There's the playing cards. Look, king and queen. Ooh, that's sacred. I always grab them randomly, but maybe there's a sign in there. Queen of hearts, king of diamonds. I think the king's diamonds would win the queen's hearts, right? Anyway, just layered that over some pink sari fabric and put a really cute little pin, a rose pin in the bottom. So yeah, lots of tickets. And the nice thing about these journals is you can take these pieces out and put them inside the book if you'd rather. Too bad the best little detail got cropped out when I had to fold this to make it fit. The little cute puppy dog there. But anyway, yeah, I promised myself I would not over-explain every little thing in these books, and I hope I'm succeeding. Layered pockets in the front here. An extra little sample of this for collaging. You know, it's funny. So I watch a lot of Jason Adams, as you know, if you're one of my regular viewers. His channel, Jason Adams, is where he teaches us all about the history of jewelry and fine art and collectible items. And sometimes when he's showing his cool stuff in his videos, he'll say, I don't know why I'm rushing. Why do I feel like I'm in a hurry? And I always think, you know, note to self, oh, isn't this gorgeous? When I picked this page that says World of Culture, I honestly didn't look to see what was on the other side of it. But look at that. What would this be, the Rapture? Quite the image, right, for a light little journal like this. But anyway, I always think, note to self, like if I catch myself talking too fast and running out of breath as I do, not that he does that when he's in a hurry, he's still articulate and fluent, and I aspire to be that way too. Yeah, look at this one. Look at that pyramid scene in the center. It's like a diagram of the construction of the Great Pyramid. Again, cool little dangles from Tanya. This one looks a lot like cloisonné. Some kind of enamel, very pretty. And one of those solar plexus charging yellow gems. But anyway, if I sound like I'm in a hurry, I'm sorry. But I am in a little bit of a hurry. So my Kenley, the love of my life, my boyfriend Kenley, his sister is away, and her dogs, her big, huge, giant dogs, one's a St. Bernard and the other one is as big as the St. Bernard, but I forget the breed. Anyway, they're over, and Kenley's dad took them out for a walk, but I'm hoping to finish my flip through videos before they're back, because when they come back, it will be chaos. And as much as I love them, I don't need them flicking their tails and knocking my books over or barking loudly when I've got my camera rolling. So yeah, as you can see, the reason I was able to whip these out so quickly is that the pages are not super duper adorned, which, you know, I think that's a good thing for those who like to do their own decorating in their journals. This one has a kilt pin that I decorated myself with really beautiful natural gemstone beads, aquamarine, peridot, and rose quartz. Crystals of the heart chakra and the throat chakra for communication, and a cool eye of Horus dangling in the middle. And so this could be taken off and actually worn as jewelry. One of the coolest book pages. I love this shade of green. Absolutely love it. In fact, it's almost a shame that it's kind of getting washed out by all the vibrant purples and pinks and blues on this cover, but oh, I adore that color. So yeah, as our last but not least little journal, just show you a bit what's inside. Yeah, I hear dogs about to re-enter the house, so I will end this video before it gets too loud and chaotic. But oh, isn't this pretty? Imagine writing a journal entry on that white spot at the top of that page. Okay, so I will cut the video short before it gets super loud in here by the big giant puppies. But yeah, thank you for watching. You can head over to my Etsy shop, which is linked in the video description, if you'd like to pick up 1 or 2 or 3 or all of these journals. I hope they were as much fun for you to watch as they were for me to make. And I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. So much love to you. Happy crafting, and bye for now.